Hi, welcome to Oma's Kitchen.
Oregano.
I never knew about pupusas until my neighbor got her friend from El Salvador to make some for her, and then she shared them with me. They were so good. They are a corn pancake filled with meat or cheese, and then they have a spicy, sweet, fermented slaw that goes over the top. Pupusas are the national dish of El Salvador. I needed to learn to make them for us. The spicy slaw that goes on top of the pupusas is called Curtido, and it is better if it's made the day before. It's wonderful, spicy and sweet, and I use it for both pupusas and fish tacos. So let's make that first. As well as my big pile of veggies here, I have all of the ingredients for the homemade dressing, and it will get boiled on the stove and then poured over the vegetables while it's still hot. This helps the vegetables to cook a little bit and ferment in the refrigerator. Let's cut up all the vegetables that will go in the curtido. I take my very large 4-quart mixing bowl and I add a bunch of cabbage to it. The amount of cabbage that I add depends on how large of a head of cabbage I have. I like to cut it up so that I end up with strips that are about 1/2 inch wide and 1.5 inches long, and then I cut up the rest of the vegetables to be similar in size. This time I didn't have to shred my carrots. I already had some shredded carrots in the fridge, so I just added those. I'm going to put the recipe up here for you, but you will also need a red onion, a red bell pepper, and 1 to 2 fresh jalapenos. If you don't like jalapenos and you don't want it quite as spicy, use a green bell pepper or an Anaheim pepper. Those are both very mild, and that'll help put the green into your curtido. A red onion is much firmer and it will stand up to the hot dressing better than a white onion will. Plus it adds some color to your curtido, and this is a party of color in this spicy slaw. It's much easier to get the seeds out of a bell pepper if I cut a circle around the top and then just pop out the seeds all together in one piece before I cut the rest of the pepper up. I like to add the jalapeno as little circles that have been sliced thin. Now this is a matter of opinion. You could just cut the jalapeno in half and scrape out the seeds, but I like to just cut down one side and then use a small knife to scrape out the seeds in the center. I rinse out the rest of the seeds, and then I use a paring knife to just do thin slices. Now this will put the pepper juice all over your hands, and I want to tell you, I speak from experience. When you're handling hot peppers, don't touch your face or your eyes, and you're going to need to do quite a bit of hand washing after you're done slicing. Washing my hands with lemon juice and salt before washing them with soap, I have found really helps in getting the spicy peppers off of my hands. And then look at the beautiful colors I have in that bowl. That's the veggies, and we're moving on to the dressing. I have a couple of tablespoons of brown sugar here, and that goes into my saucepan. I have a 1.5 cups of apple cider vinegar. You can use regular vinegar if you'd like, but I like the bite of the apple cider vinegar. I'm going to add enough water to make 2 cups. I'm using a filtered water here. So that's a half a cup of water. Into the saucepan it goes. And there's a teaspoon each of all of the spices. So a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. And I actually like to do a heaping teaspoon of red pepper flakes. I love the heat that counteracts the brown sugar in this dressing. A teaspoon of chili powder. And a teaspoon of oregano. Oregano. And then we're going to put this on the stove. So once we move it over there, we'll pick up. I have a spatula to stir it with. Let's go over there. I'm going to put this over medium-high heat, and I have to bring it to a boil and get it really sizzling good before we pour it over the veggies. I'm going to put the recipe up here for you so you can see everything that goes in there. We're going to kind of bring it to a simmering boil. I like to stir it a bit as it starts to boil. Make sure the brown sugar doesn't stick to the bottom and it mixes really well into the dressing. Now the steaming hot dressing gets poured over all of those beautiful vegetables we cut up. You'll notice I left the jalapenos and onions on top and really didn't mix them in with everything else. I wanted that hot dressing to hit them first, to kind of cook them a little bit before they start to ferment in the refrigerator. Now I mix all of the vegetables together before I transfer the curtido to a refrigerator bowl with a very tight-fitting lid. And I make this the day before I make the pupusas. The flavor's wonderful when everything sort of hangs out together in the refrigerator overnight. There are lots of different kinds of pupusas. You can make them with just cheese, or pork and cheese, or beef and cheese. I've done quite a few different kinds now. For this video, I'm actually making pork and cheese pupusas for the next day. So I sear off the meat and then cook it down in the crock pot the day before. And we'll talk about that for the pupusas video. So the curtido is ready. And the next day, the meat is also cooked off and has cooled off in the refrigerator. And I will make a video for making the pupusas. All of that dressing goes in the bowl as well. And then you cover it over and put it in the fridge overnight. I will have the video for the pupusas posted within the next couple of days. The curtido itself is just wonderful on fish tacos and even on pork tenderloin sandwiches, and I felt it deserved its own video. It's definitely something I use for other things now besides pupusas. So this was the curtido video. I hope you'll try it, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me in Oma's Kitchen. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll upload more tasty videos soon, and a special shout out to Moon Pie and Lil Bit. Till next time.
Oregano.